something a little bit different from what you've seen so far tonight. He's going to be performing a spoken word poem written by one Ernest Thayer, and it has been performed thousands of times over the years, from vaudeville all the way through the movies. Please welcome, from Dover, Ohio, here to perform Casey at the Bat, Mr. George Zambie.
So, Casey at the Bat, written, as our MC said, by Ernest Thayer. Ernest Thayer happened to be a college roommate and a writer on the Lampoon at Harvard with a guy named William Randolph Hearst. Yes, that Hearst, the one that his family owned the San Francisco Examiner newspaper. They had political clout, they had business clout. And so Thayer wrote a column, and nothing was thought about it. He wrote this Casey at the Bat. Well, back then it was 1888, and the article appeared, of course, in the San Francisco Examiner, but also all across the country and in the East Coast as well. Well, there was a vaudeville actor and a stage man there, a comedian named DeHopper, and DeHopper was handed this article, this poem, by his agent, and there were going to be a performance where the New York Yankees and the Chicago professional baseball team were going to be in the stands. So the agent said, why don't you memorize that poem and let's perform it. So this DeHopper did that, and he ended up performing it over 10,000 times in his career, it was said. So Casey at the Bat was a well-known poem in the 20th century because baseball was a national pastime. So here it is by Ernest Thayer. It's Casey at the Bat. It looked extremely rocky for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-6 with but an inning left to play. And when Cooney died at first, and Burroughs did the same, a pallor wreathed the features of the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go, leaving there the rest, with the hope that springs eternal within the human breast. For they thought, if only Casey could get a whack at that, they'd put up even money with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, and likewise so did Blake, and the former was a pudding and the latter was a fake. So on that stricken multitude a death-like silence sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey getting to the bat. But Flynn had tried a single to the wonderment of all, and in much despised Blake he tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and they saw what had occurred, there was Blakey safe on second, and Flynn a hugging third. Then, from the gladdened multitude went up a joyous yell. It bounded on the mountaintop and rattled in the dell. It struck upon the hillside and rebounded on the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded as he wiped them on his shirt. And while the rising pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed from Casey's eyes, and a sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, but Casey stood watching it with haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. From the bleachers black with people, there rose a sullen roar, like the beating of a storm wave on a stern and distant shore. "Kill him! Kill the umpire!" someone shouted from the stands. And it's likely they had done it, had not Casey raised his hand. With the smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult, and he bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and again the spheroid flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two!" "Fraud!" yelled the maddened thousands, and the echo answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey would not let that ball go by again. That sneer is gone from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched with hate. He pounds with cruel violence the bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher has the ball, and now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in his favorite land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light, and somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. Thank you.